Hey guys, what's up and welcome to Z Reviews Tech. This is the Kuu K2 laptop with a Celeron J4115 processor, 8GB of RAM, as well as an option for a 256 or a 512GB SSD. This laptop, as you can see, I'm playing Stardew Valley on it and is actually running pretty well. This laptop retails for around $400 regular price, and on sale you can find it as low as $300. Let's do a full review of this and see the pros and cons of this device. Alright, let's start out with the build of the laptop. As you can see, the Kuu K2 is a full aluminum bodied laptop. That being said though, I will say that this laptop is surprisingly heavy for something that's full aluminum. I was expecting something or this laptop to be a little lighter, but it's not. So if you do care about weight, do know that this laptop is fairly heavy. Look in the description below or the link to see the actual weight of the laptop. Again, it's very heavy. That being said, it does actually feel pretty good because it's a full aluminum laptop. So the top is nice. It's aluminum. It feels good to the touch. The bottom is also pretty decent. As you can see, we have some rubber feet on the top and the bottom, as well as a nice big air vent for the laptop to release the heat. Okay, let's talk about ports. As you can see on this side, we have the DC in, the power, the USB-C, which you cannot charge with, by the way, and the micro HDMI. And then on this side, you have your one USB 3 slot, a headphone jack, as well as the micro SD card slot. So port selection here is a little bit sparse. I was hoping for more, but it's better than nothing. All right, this laptop, I'm going to try and open it with one hand. Barely doable. You got to do it really slowly, otherwise it tips up kind of like that. And in terms of opening angle, it doesn't open very far. You're looking at maybe 130 degrees. A lot of laptops open bigger than this right now. The other thing to note is that there actually is no magnet in this spot right here, right there. Which means that when you open up the laptop and it's in sleep mode, this thing doesn't actually turn on. You actually have to hit a key before the screen will turn on. As you can see, the screen just turned on. So that's actually one downside of this laptop. It doesn't have an auto sleep or auto turn on because it doesn't have a magnet in this location right here. Okay, so the keyboard is actually one of the areas where I'm the most happy. Well, the keyboard and trackpad. Let's talk about the keyboard first. There's a lot of key travel on the keyboard. The keys are nice and big. Quality-wise, they don't feel too good, but I'm not too picky about that as long as they have a nice spring back and they're responsive, and these keys here definitely are. The other thing I like is if you go on the other side, there's a full-size everything basically. You got your full-size arrow keys, you have full-size page up, well actually huge size page up, page down, print screen, pause, and all that kind of stuff. And the other thing as well is that this thing also has a backlit keyboard. I'm going to turn the lights off so you can take a look at this. And the screen's actually really bright too, but it is backlit, trust me. And then the final thing about the keyboard is the power button actually has a fingerprint reader embedded into it as well, which is actually quite nice. The next thing I want to talk about here is the trackpad. So the trackpad, as you can see, it says D-slice. That's 100% a typo, put it that way. But basically what happens is I actually had to figure it out because I couldn't figure out what that word meant. But what happens is if you swipe from the middle to the left, it becomes a mouse pad. And if you swipe from the middle to the right, it becomes a number pad, which is actually cool. Although I don't really know when I would use it that much. You definitely need a mouse if you want to use it with a number pad setup. And you slide it back and it becomes a mouse. Okay, and actually one more thing about the keyboard is you have your top row of functions which allow you to change your brightness, your sound, and your backlit keyboard. However, you need to hold the function key and turn it off and on. So it's not one touch like it is on a MacBook or actually some other Chinese laptops, and there really is no way, as far as I can tell, to enable it to have your function always locked for these function keys. Minor issue, let's move on to the trackpad. Scrolling on the trackpad is actually really good, so I really have no complaints. I'm very impressed by how well they made the trackpad here, because really, I have no complaint scrolling here, and I absolutely love it. And that's actually something that I think we're going to see regularly in Chinese laptops now. Okay, I'm going to give you guys another screen test here, and I'm actually very satisfied with the screen. It's actually quite good, especially for a matte display on a budget laptop. But as you can see, I'm also playing in 4K, which is actually quite nice. So 4K works in Chrome to something more interesting. There we go. So screen quality is very good. Resolution is decent because it's a 1080p display. Colors are decent as well. They're not as good as tablet tablet displays for IPSs or even AMOLEDs on phones, but for a laptop it's actually perfectly passable. It's fine and I like it. So yeah, let's continue on with the review. Okay, talking about audio, the audio actually comes out of this bar right here. So you can see that there's really two spots where the audio comes out. Audio quality is it's whatever. There's really no bass. It gets quite loud though, so I'll give it that. Let's play this and then you can judge for yourself. Okay, yeah, let's keep going with the laptop. Okay, so moving on to, well, the guts of the laptop and the software and all that kind of stuff. This thing, the one I got, is a 256 gigabyte hard drive, but it's partitioned into two partitions, one with a 64 gig partition and the other one with 180 gigabytes. I think that's absolutely stupid. They should have just left it as one partition. I don't know why they did that. Good thing it's easy to combine them together. Okay, so moving on to the performance. Actually, before we move on to performance, let's talk about battery life. 5 hours is about right for this battery life. Here it says 6 hours and 30 minutes remaining. That's if you basically sit there and do nothing. If you're, if you're doing Google Chrome, like you're browsing the web, maybe you're watching YouTube videos, and then you're doing a little bit of, like typing up a Word document or Excel, all that kind of stuff, you're going to see your use drop to reliably around 4 hours. Now, as you can see just now, performance was actually pretty decent for, browsing Word and stuff like that. I'm actually pretty impressed. I think part of that is due to it's installed on an SSD, so it's going to be pretty fast. And then, of course, Office, or OpenOffice in this case, is actually pretty good as well. I'm just going to open up a spreadsheet. And actually, I can use the mouse pad and mess with it. Oh, hit the wrong button. This, and yeah, works pretty well. Okay, before we move on to gaming, let's open up GIMP and see how long that takes, because GIMP is more intense, put it that way, than these other softwares. And then after that, we'll move on to Stardew Valley. And there we go, GIMP. Actually, one thing I haven't done is downloaded an image to play around with, and I'll do that at the same time. Okay, so it took about like 45 seconds to open GIMP, which, is actually not that bad. Just because even on my desktop, which I edit my 4K video on, it takes like 20 seconds. So cutting that in half, or well, not half, like a little bit more than half, it's actually not that bad. So where the true test is going to be processing layers. So for example, if I change even the color, let's say the saturation or the exposure, let's see how long it takes. Let's see if it redraws, and let's take a look at this. Nope, it's actually not redrawing, it's doing it instantly. So let's look at, let's say, a Gaussian blur, and we'll do this. That was actually instant too, and this picture is not small. See how it's 13 megabytes? So I'm actually impressed because it looks like the J4115 actually does a pretty good job in terms of processing. It's obviously no i7 or something like that, but it's it's decent. It actually does its job pretty well. Okay, let's move on to gaming. Okay, so I'm currently in Stardew Valley, and I have to say that I actually haven't been able to play Stardew Valley on other Gemini Lake processors like the N4100 or the N4200. Usually it starts stuttering and stuff like that, especially on 1080p, but as you can see, the Gemini Lake processor here, the J4115, is faster. It's definitely faster than the N series processors. So as you can see, I'm playing Stardew Valley fairly well. So I really have no complaints. This thing isn't on highest settings, so let me show you it. It's not on highest settings. It's on medium setting, because I put it on highest settings, it starts to stutter a little bit right there. Medium lighting quality, stuff like that. So really, it's this is not going to be a gaming machine, put it that way, but it can do some casual gaming if you want. So, and Stardew Valley is not as light as you would think compared to, let's say, a true pixel game. So it's a little bit more graphically intensive than what most people might think. So the fact that it plays on this is actually pretty good. So yeah. All right, lastly, camera wise, the quality, as you can see here, it's whatever. It's basically your average potato quality camera. Look at my hair. I mean, my hair is obviously bad, but the quality is even worse. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, so let's conclude with this laptop, the Kuu K2. I would say that it's actually a pretty decent laptop. There's obviously the annoyance of the lid not opening and closing and sleeping properly because there's no magnet in there, and the battery life is not the best. It's about 5 hours, and you're not even looking at gaming or even GIMP or anything like that. It's basically just web browsing and Word. So this laptop is not going to be for you if you want something really intense on it, just because of the speed of the processor. In terms of price, I actually wouldn't recommend it at a regular price, but at $300, yeah, I would say go for it, because that's actually a pretty decent deal. And so far, I haven't really found any bugs or other crappy things that I don't like with this laptop. It's actually pretty good. And just to note that the laptop body is actually the same, like the same manufacturer as, I'm pretty sure, the EasyBook, the latest one. So yeah, so if you're interested in this laptop, then check it out in the link below. And hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.